Next on Worcester News Tonight, dealing with the drought, how city officials say Worcester residents are doing conserving water. Plus, in the wake of terror attacks in New York, hundreds take part in a disaster drill inside the DCU Center. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Andy Madison. It was a summer of hot weather and little rainfall, which brought extreme drought conditions to the area. In Worcester, the city has put tight water restrictions in place, and the DPW says so far they appear to be working. Ever since declaring a Stage 3 drought emergency earlier this month, residents aren't allowed to water their lawn at all. Restaurants are also being asked to conserve water. We spoke with DPW, who says no fines have been given out yet, and daily water usage is down from last week.
Our goal isn't to get a couple dollars in tickets. Our goal is to reduce water use. And I'm seeing something better this week. The last few days, we've been down to about 22 million gallons.
Commissioner Musi says the number is down from about 24 million gallons of water used daily last week. Well, tomorrow is the first official day of fall, which marks a change for seasonal businesses in central Massachusetts. Golf courses and ice cream stands are open during the fall months, but don't see as many customers. Miola's Wayside Ice Cream in West Boylston is a popular spot during the summer to grab some ice cream. The owner says he is sad to see summer go because the nice weather has been good for business.
We're actually kind of sad that it's coming to an end, but there's another month of ice cream, apple crisp and pumpkin that we're making batches of, and it's going over quite well. So the people are still coming here, and we really enjoy seeing everyone.
Miola expects he'll be open for a few more weeks before closing until the spring. Today in Worcester, police, firefighters, and EMTs all responding to the DCU Center, but no one was in danger. It was all part of a disaster emergency drill, training taking place just days after bombings in the New York area. Our Brittany Schaefer got an up-close look at the coordinated disaster response.
Unfortunately, the world has become a place where this type of event is a relative likelihood.
A large-scale active shooter drill took place at the DCU Center Tuesday, just days after a bomb injured dozens in New York. First responders say the drill put them in a real-life scenario.
We began planning for this drill just a very short time before the Orlando shootings, and the scenario that we designed was actually closely mirrored by that actual event, which was somewhat sobering.
Everything going on in the world today, you know, New York, and not using these skills is going to put you so far behind when you actually need to use the skills.
The drill starts as a concert with hundreds of actors portraying victims and a shooter wounding dozens and killing 6.
The police are going to do their part to secure the scene and make sure that the rest of the response community can enter safely.
The first arriving paramedics are responsible for sorting out which patients are the most critically injured and need immediate treatment.
Multiple agencies coordinated their response in the drill. Victims were taken to the city's 3 hospitals by ambulance and the ambo bus.
Exercises like this are a great way to get all the players together.
This is a typical thing that we don't train for very often, and the more training we have, the better off we're going to be in an incident like this.
Emergency and first responders got to try new technology which could assist in a disaster like this scenario.
The use of drone technology to basically do some initial assessment of victims, and also from a law enforcement perspective to actually find a potential shooter.
Overall, those participating in the drill say the technique and timing of the first responders was impressive.
Triage process really went pretty flawlessly. The patients were accurately triaged, and the process took less time than I expected it would.
When they call for the walking wounded, I can't hear them. So that's something that I take back to my department and say, hey, we really got to project this.
Brittany Schaefer, Worcester News Tonight.
Now to the suspect captured in connection with the bomb explosions over the weekend. Officials say he was briefly on the radar of police and federal agents right before the weekend attacks that injured more than 24 people in the New York area. Jake Gray reports.
With questions swirling around bombing suspect Ahmad Khan Rahami and his family.
What did you tell them?
Today we've learned his father, Mohammed, angrily called his son a terrorist 2 years ago after Ahmad apparently stabbed a sibling in the leg during a fight at home. The FBI investigated that incident, determining his father made the assertion in the heat of an argument. Agents found no evidence of a terrorism connection and closed the case. That information comes as we learn more now about a notebook Rahami was carrying during a shootout with police. Inside, writings described by investigators as rambling and disconnected, with references to the Boston Marathon bombing, Fort Hood attack, and the teachings of former al-Qaeda propagandist Anwar al-Awlaki.
I was like a little shaken, you know.
We're also now hearing from the bar owner who found Rahami sleeping in a doorway and called police.
I'm happy and I feel lucky that I was able to help nab this guy.
Homeland Security Secretary Jade Johnson visited the crime scene today as the search for evidence there continues. To this point, investigators say nothing they've uncovered indicates a tie with known terror organizations or that Rahami had help planning or making bombs across New York and New Jersey.
That was Jay Gray reporting. A Webster man is accused of breaking into a home and stealing scrap copper. A contractor working on a home on Batten Street reported missing tools and copper. After investigating, police issued a warrant for that man, Joshua Wanoski. They found prescription pills and marijuana packaged for sale at his home. Wanoski is now charged with larceny, breaking and entering, and possession with intent to distribute. Police in one Massachusetts community taking some steps to protect their officers. The Southbridge police chief says the changes are necessary in light of recent events involving the law enforcement community. Our Rosalind Flaherty reports.
With the changing times and everything that's happened, it's absolutely necessary.
Southbridge Police Chief Shane Woodson wants to tighten up security around the department's parking lot. He says due to events nationwide, police officers need more protection.
We've got police officers at night that walk out to the parking lot. They've got all their gear, their equipment, their firearms.
Chief Woodson requested to install a security fence around the parking lot behind the station, a move unanimously approved by councilors last week.
We've got, a large amount of assets that are parked on that property.
In June 2015, a Southbridge man doused a police car with fuel and set it on fire in the parking lot. Woodson says other incidents include bottles being put under cruisers causing flat tires and graphic images being carved into cruisers.
5 or 6 years ago, I may not have supported this idea and spending this kind of money from our town, but with everything that's happened, the big picture, I think it's the right thing to do.
Residents of Southbridge have mixed feelings about the new fence.
They're not able to protect themselves, then who's really protecting us?
Especially if you have people who are walking around randomly and then doing things like setting cars on fire, so who knows what else they're going to do.
The chief says they will repurpose around $60,000 the department was going to use to repave the parking lot.
And we're trying to protect our equipment and as well as our people, of course.
Rosalind Flaherty, Worcester News Tonight.
In Worcester, students, faculty, and staff making their mark on one of the beams that is part of a new academic building on campus. Assumption College broke ground on the new building 5 months ago. Well, today the interior steel frame is complete. Many signed the final I-beam before it is placed on the building later this week. The 60,000 square foot building will contain 13 classrooms and a 400-seat hall performance.
And it really is beginning to be a reality, and the building is taking shape, and so what will happen on this space in a few months is very, very exciting.
It's a very amazing opportunity for students in the future. I'll actually be returning from my master's program here next year, so hopefully I'll get a chance to use the building, fingers crossed, but even just for undergraduate students, I think having this central building on campus will really help increase the academic quality of students' lives.
Construction is on schedule. The building is expected to be completed by the fall semester of 2017. With the cost of higher education rising, officials are honoring institutions working to educate students at a lower cost. The U.S. Department of Education has published a list of 25 community colleges that provide significant opportunities to low-income students. 3 of those schools are located in Massachusetts, including one right here in Worcester, Quinsigamond Community College. 49% of students are considered low income. Springfield's Technical Community College also made the list at 56%, and 46% of low income students account for undergrads at North Shore Community College in Danvers.